Bitcoin is still holding strong. I'm going to show you guys why I'm still bullish on this market despite Friday's dump and that huge liquidation that we had, which I heard quite a bit of bad news coming from that. And as a cause of that, which was because of the tariffs, but it looks like things are actually relaxing back up. Okay. And I've seen quite a bit of news on um, investors getting liquidated. It's really sad. And also saw news of someone have suicided, right? Because that, um, he lost a lot of his investors' money. Now, without getting too much into that, this is why I also want to emphasize not over leveraging yourself. I did get some of my leverage positions liquidated, but of course, you know it's not money that I cannot recover from. So I really want to emphasize going forward, and as I've been emphasizing to not over leverage yourself. So when liquidation events happen like this, you can still bounce back because I see this as a long term game. Okay, I rather put on steady gains rather than chase just the crazy surges, which are also very risky. Now, with that said, we're going to be taking a look in this video. I'm going to be talking to you guys about Bitcoin, why I am still bullish on Bitcoin. I am long on Bitcoin. I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here still. And I have a few arguments that are still intact from what I've been saying. Okay. We're also going to be taking a look into a few altcoin setups, which would be Mogcoin. We're doing Memecoins today. I think there's going to be a bounce back here. So I think some of these altcoins will be bouncing back pretty significantly. Okay. Of course, I'm just talking probabilities. Okay. Nothing is for certain. And if there's still risk in the market, and I'm going to point out to you guys what those risks are and what I think you guys should be paying attention to. We're going to be taking a look into Mogcoin. We're going to take a look into Memecoin, which is an actual coin, meme, USDT, as well as Trollcoin, and see what's happening in some of these meme coins here. Are they looking like they're going to be bouncing back? Are they looking bearish now after that crazy dump on Friday? So we're gonna take a look into that. We're gonna take a look into news first. I'm gonna give you guys my reaction to some headlines before diving into the charts further. So let's go ahead and do that. First piece of news here is by Cointelegraph. How low can Bitcoin price go if 110k Bitcoin support fails? Well, I think the next support is going to be 107k, and I'm going to point out to you guys why that is. But right now, Bitcoin still looks bullish to me. As I pointed out yesterday on the weekly time frame, we still had it looks like a bear trap. It looks like a short squeeze could still happen here, right? So 107k is the next level of key support I'll be looking at, which is basically where the daily 200 SMA, the orange line is. Okay, that's at about 107k. If the support that we're currently at, which is about 110, does not hold, that is not going to be good, of course. But we still have to see where this daily candle closes, right? Because if Bitcoin actually dips down to 107, there is still a potential bullish divergence scenario here on the daily RSI. So that is basically what I'm seeing. Let's go ahead and go to the next piece of news here. This one's by You Today. It's finally happening. Jim Cramer links $19 Bitcoin wipe out to S&P 500 crash. I mean, if you guys been on my channel, you guys know that I've been linking S&P 500, which is the stock market, to Bitcoin. They have high correlation. I look to the S&P 500 for some front-running signals, and right now the S&P 500 looks like it's doing a pretty good recovery. I saw it down almost 1% last night. This is Pacific Standard Time. Basically comes back into the positive. let's take a look into that chart right now, because on the daily time frame for S&P 500 is what I'm paying attention to, because it has hit the daily 50 SMA first time for quite a while. Okay, it has not been on the daily 50 SMA since May. Okay, so I do expect that to be a pretty good support. However, if that support does not hold, then of course there's gonna be more downside. Okay, then we can look into that together. Next piece is by You Today as well. This one says, "Be strong." Michael Saylor responds to $7 billion hit to Strategy's Bitcoin holding. I love how some of the comments by Michael Saylor, just how stoic they are. I mean, I feel that it's I feel the same way. I mean, I am in this game for the long term, okay? And I mean, I've been trading for over 5+ years, and I plan to be here for a lot longer. So I urge you guys to learn the skills to do so as well. And technical analysis is a big part of it. All right, next piece here is by You Today. Bitcoin will continue to outperform everything. Max Kaiser. Okay. I still feel the same way. Without reading too much into this piece of news here. I still think that the Bitcoin bull cycle is still intact. And one of the main reasons why is because, well, I'll give you guys two of the main reasons why. Macro reasons. What, right? First of all, it's going to be the Fed has just started its Fed rate cut cycle back in September. Okay. And it looks like we're going to get at least two more Fed rate cut cycles based on the CME watch tool. Right. The next is another chart I want to show you is this. Okay, I've been showing you guys this chart. This is the chart indicating to me about retail interest for the search term Bitcoin on Google Trends, weekly data points in the United States, and this chart has been correlated with previous bull cycles and bullish waves in the crypto markets. And right now, it is still on the way up. Despite that crash that we had, right? So this is another argument that I feel is very strong that this bull market is still intact. All right, so next piece here is Bitcoin threatens 107K next as yearly open becomes Bitcoin price floor. Yeah, I do remember that the yearly open was about 110K, right? I mean, could we dip down further? Yes. I mean, that's definitely, I mean, it's in the cards, right? I'm just talking about probabilities here, okay? Nothing is for certain in this market. So I also want to show you guys another chart which I talked about yesterday, which is the weekly time frame here, and I pointed out that there is going to be that this still looks bullish because even though we're in a rising wedge pattern, and you guys see that the bears actually try to break down from this pattern here, right, 2 times already, and the wicks went back up into the pattern. This tells me that it was a fake out for the bears, and it looks bullish because of that, right? However, I'm looking at this weekly candle right now. It's very important that this weekly candle goes back into the pattern, right? We still have about 5 more days until this candle closes, but this is what I'm looking at. But right now, I think it still looks bullish. Let's take a look into a smaller time frame here, daily time frame. Okay, since the drop here on last Friday, we still have a higher low on some of these lower time frames. Okay, daily time frame, still a higher low if we actually close like that. If we actually take a look into the 12-hour time frame, we still have a higher low, right? And why are higher lows important is because that is the foundation of an uptrend, right? So since this crash, we're still technically on an uptrend, right? 6 hours, still a higher low, okay? So I still think this is why I think both on a macro level and the technical level that this still looks bullish right now, okay? So let's go ahead and go to altcoins, meme coins today. first of all, we're going to be talking about Mogcoin, see what's happening with this coin here, do a recap here because things have just been it's been crazy since last Friday, to say the least. Okay, weekly time frame. Weekly time frame, Mogcoin. All right. I'm waiting for my charts to load here. So I talked about a falling wedge pattern. It broke out of it on the week of April 7th. Price target is 0.00000245, about there. The breakout is still valid because the price action is still above this upper trend line of the pattern it broke out from. And since then, it has actually dropped from this rising wedge pattern, which is a bearish pattern. You guys should definitely pay attention to rising wedges and falling wedges because they work opposite directions. And this rising wedge, the breakdown target was basically met. It's basically 6 zeros and 430. Okay, and Mogcoin went down to quite a bit more because of Friday. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take away this pattern here because the breakdown target has been met and some more. Now, price targets are estimates only. There could be more, there could be less. A lot of which is going to depend on what happens with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin has more room to pump, that's very good for the altcoins, for a lot of the altcoins. However, if Bitcoin continues dumping, these altcoin setups are not going to matter very much. Okay, so very important to pay attention to Bitcoin first. That is the first chart I pay attention to. Now let's go ahead and go to the 3-day time frame where I have recharted a previous falling wedge pattern here because of Friday's dump, and that basically invalidated the previous falling wedge I talked about. And this is a new one here. That's what happens when so you have to continue recharting your patterns as new data comes in because patterns could get invalidated, right? And price targets could be met. Now, this is the 3-day time frame, and this is a falling wedge pattern, and this falling wedge pattern is still intact despite this huge wick, right? Because candle wicks don't invalidate patterns, candle closes do, and this falling wedge pattern is still intact. Price target for this falling wedge pattern, if it breaks out by this point here, for example, price target would be about 5 zeros and 1 5. Okay, so that's the price target. That's what I'm seeing for Mogcoin. Let's go ahead and go to Memecoin, MEMUSDT, see what's happening with this coin here. Okay, weekly time frame. Weekly time frame. This is the falling wedge pattern. Falling wedges, again, you should definitely pay attention to because it tells you after an extensive downtrend on that time frame, the price action has a higher chance of breaking to the upside. Now, if it actually, this one broke to the upside quite some time ago, hasn't done too much, right? Because we're just in a very boring bull cycle, to be honest with you. This is nothing like 2021. Nothing like what I've seen from the data back in 2017. This has been a lot more consolidation, a lot more twists and turns. So if you guys are surviving this, props to you guys. And yeah, it's been boring, but gotta stay alive. I still think there's some significant upside to be had. Now, falling wedge pattern broke out of here back in the week of July, right? Beginning of July, and the price target here would be about 2.7 cents price target. Okay, it hasn't gotten quite there yet, but the breakout is still valid. Okay, the breakout is still valid. I do see bullish divergence on this weekly time frame. Bullish divergence is basically where you have a equal or lower low on the price action chart, but you have a equal or higher low on the RSI, right? So that usually tells you that there's going to be a reversal. Now, could this be turning into a green candle soon? That is something yet to be seen. Okay, but that the probability tells me that the divergence is usually an indicator of a reversal. So let's see what happens. Let's go ahead and go to Tro and see what's happening with this meme coin here. Okay. Now, this is a relatively new meme coin. It has pumped since April, and this thing went crazy, right? It went from about 0.25 cents to 28 cents. That's a lot. I think that is 100x. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't really do math right now. Point two, yeah, that sounds like 100x. Let's see here. 0.28. Wait, yeah, that sounds like 100x. 282 divided by, excuse me, 0.28 divided by 0.0028. Yeah, that's 100x here. That's crazy for this meme coin here. But of course, it has retraced, right? It has retraced. And let's see what's happening right now. It is still very well above the bottoms where it started. Okay, so let's take a look into daily time frame here. Daily time frame here, falling wedge pattern. Okay, falling wedges again are bullish patterns that have a higher chance of breaking to the upside. If it breaks out by this point, for example, price target would be about almost 30 cents, which is still pretty nuts. Let's see if it gets there. Like I said, price targets are estimates only. A lot of which is going to depend on what happens with Bitcoin. I don't see any particular other patterns on the lower time frames here. Let's take a look into the weekly time frame one more time. I want to point out to you guys if there are any. It was very overbought, right? With bearish divergence. Okay, it did come down to the weekly 21 SMA, which is going to be a very important moving average and support to be watching because you have divergence, right? If this does not hold, the weekly 21 SMA currently about 9.5 cents, then it could be there could be more downside, right? So this is basically what I'm seeing for some of these coins. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of Tro, Meme, Mogcoin, or any other coins in this market by dropping a like, comment, subscribe. I'll pick a request to you for you guys on a daily basis, and I'll see you on the next one.